Hi, everybody. Kat here. Welcome to Landry's Lair. It's Sunday morning, and things are just ramping up with the royal family. On a recent episode of The Sun and Royal Exclusive on YouTube, the panel was raising some very interesting points regarding the whole Andrew situation. Even though it's not slated as such, MPs are calling for a parliamentary inquiry, perhaps even bringing Andrew in front of a committee to testify for questioning. You know, more and more royal reporters are noting now, they're saying it out loud, that William is driving the action against Andrew, recognizing who is behind the wheel, so to speak. Now, if you've been following me for any time at all, you know my playlist, King Charles III, Life Imitating Art. This is what I've been saying for over 2 years now was going to happen, and it is playing out right in the timeline that I kind of gave, so that's pretty interesting. You know, it was brought up that this may prove to be an issue. They were talking constitutionally, like, well, Charles is still king. Who's really in charge? That's one of those back and forth. You can debate that all for a week. It's really a moot point when it comes to a situation like this. We know the king's weak. Everybody does. We know he's loath to do anything permanent about this situation, or he would have done so already. The Queen suffered the same indecision and the same weakness towards Andrew. She did the bare minimum what she had to do, you know? And on the day that she stripped Andrew of his military honors, to compensate, she made him a member of the Order of the Garter. Unbelievable. A Garter Knight. Yeah. So, I mean, this is nothing new. In fact, you could pick a situation. This is how the royal family has dealt with everything over time anyway. And I mean, and nothing gets done. You know, everything's kind of hidden. But it hasn't really been till this new media age, since Diana really, that there's been so much scrutiny on the royal family. And I mean, we know now, William, as I've said, he's taking control behind the scenes. William Rising. You know, the king would prefer to wash this away with some performative action against Andrew, just such as what we've seen, abeyance of his titles. They removed the removal of his ceremonial banner with his heraldic insignia on it in St. George's Chapel. That's been taken down. But I mean, the public is demanding more. Members of the parliament are calling for inquiries. And I mean, we've seen by the Speaker of the House, Lindsay Hoyle, reminding its members that even questioning the royals, you know, is pretty bad form. Andrew will never face a committee. In my opinion, it'll never happen. And I think Andrew knows it, you know. Charles knows it, you know, and so does William. And I mean, in my opinion, any kind of legal or criminal inquiry of Andrew and his time as a trade envoy or whatever, I mean, it would go the same way. People want to find out where the money went, what he's done. We know he's got Chinese spies and shady sheikhs and Saudis and real estate deal. We know all the shady dealings. And people want to get to the bottom of it. But I mean, due to parliamentary rules, I'm not sure that even the right questions would ever be asked, let alone answered. I mean, don't forget, the royals and their businesses, they're not affected by freedom of information requests. State secrets, etc., all kinds of excuses are used to keep the royal secret secret. You know, wills are under wraps for 100 years. They're not made public. All the papers, all of these things, they're hidden away, and it's very difficult to get that information. Just ask author and historian Andrew Lowney. Just about every interview he does, he talks about the difficulty in gathering information and how it works, you know. So I really can't see Andrew facing any kind of a serious inquiry. So, you know, what's left? What's left? The only thing left is total exile, really. And I mean, this is what we're seeing set in motion now, I believe. Andrew will leave Royal Lodge. As I've said, there will be a financial settlement. We're already hearing about it. First of all, the payout from the royal estate is about 300 grand. That is the penalty going to be paid out to Andrew for canceling the lease, right? But more so, you know, and we'll probably never know the amount, the monarchy will pay out. They'll give him some get lost money, give him enough to keep his mouth shut. They want to get rid of him quickly, cut him loose. William, well, everybody knows that more is coming out. More is coming out. Even more damage is going to be done. But I mean, like, once Andrew's cast out, the scrutiny on the palace will slow down a bit. You know, just focusing on Andrew and Sarah and the girls, and it's starting to come out. You know how they say, don't lay the sins of the father upon the children, but it's starting to come out that they may not be quite as squeaky clean as one might think. And I mean, that's going to be devastating for everybody. And a hard pill for the public to swallow. A red pill, really, showing the corruption in real time. And I mean, once the public gets a whiff of this, it's going to spread to Charles. I mean, because we know we've got the cash for honor scandal, several other scandals. There's so much. And they've managed to kind of sweep them under the rug. But you know, everybody's starting to catch on. The public, the press, those that report these things are starting to catch on to Harry and Meghan's game and everything they've done. And I mean, this is going to be William's biggest challenge. A so-called fight, you know, of good and evil. He's got to cut out the evil. Andrew, Sarah, Harry, Meghan, the king himself. And he's got to conquer all of that. And I mean, he's hoping that people will turn a blind eye. To even more questions that have been asked. like I've mentioned authors, historians. There's a group called Republic that for years has been trying to get to the bottom of royal finances, things like the duchies, the personal finances, the wills, how money changes hands, these kind of intricate things that we're just not privy to. We're not allowed to know. And William, whom everybody thought might be more forthcoming about these kinds of things, is not. Is not. He is not being transparent at all about these kinds of things. And I mean, well, that's your monarchy. I don't know what you expect of William. Keep in mind, he's been raised in the same house as the rest of them, with the same attitudes, with the same entitlement, with the same desire to move the monarchy forward while engaging in all of the things that they do. World Economic Forum, you know, that's enough said. Mention, we've got Earthshot Prize coming up soon, you know. The whole green agenda, the whole climate religion. Not only is William an acolyte of all of that in light of his father's involvement, but he's an active participant now. This is what he believes, and this is what he wants for the world. He's telling us. I mean, did you see? Here's something this weekend in Rome when the king flew to Rome to have prayers with the Pope. Wasn't enough that he had, a private jet and the whole. Did you see? The king had his car, King Climate had his bloody car shipped over so he could drive around Vatican Square. Can you imagine? So yeah, that kind of hypocrisy is alive and well within the royal family, and as much as we expect William to clean up this current mess, well, just saying, we've got Earthshot Prize coming up. We've got COP24 climate conference in Brazil coming up. They're so concerned about the climate and the rainforest that they bulldozed it down to build a road so that all those limousines and Land Rovers have a new road to drive through the forest to their fancy new hotel, because I guess in all of Brazil there wasn't a place appropriate enough for these guys because they're the elites. They're so fabulous and deserve so much that something had to be built just for them. I mean, the hypocrisy of it is insane, and if you don't see it now, you might never see it. I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you. And these are William, these people these are the people driving the agendas, driving the climate agenda, driving the green agenda. Carbon pricing and your carbon allotment for the day. This kind of crap. These are the people behind it. Okay? The corruption doesn't stop with Andrew. The corruption doesn't stop with Harry. The corruption doesn't stop with the king. Keep in mind, and as much as, she's so beloved, Queen Elizabeth knew about all of this. Remember the Paradise Papers? Her accounts. She was caught storing money overseas. Unbelievable. Yeah. So as long as you keep in mind they're all corrupt, and that's kind of a starting point that we can jump off of, then we can see what kind of progress is actually being made. William's making his move right now, as I have said for over 2 years, and it's playing out exactly as I said it would, whether it be due to his illness now or the fact that the possibility, and I've said all along, that William is going to urge his father off the throne in light of the situation that he's created. I've talked about the seminal event. We've had it. That was the March on London. Not only, everybody, the king is weak. Not only his public, but his politicians, his government is turned against him now, urging him to act. And even the government, members of the government are saying, well, thank God we've got William doing things behind the scenes. And that gets back to that earlier comment from the YouTube show saying, why is William doing things behind the scene, and does this raise a constitutional issue? It's not gonna take long enough for it to become a constitutional issue. It's just, this is the bloody way it is. This is getting done. It's getting done now. Once William starts, he's not going to stop. And I wouldn't be surprised that it takes no longer than early spring for the final move to have been made. And like I've been saying all along, King Charles III ceding the crown to William. That's what I see going on, and we are bumping along as one would expect if this had been a story written out ahead of time. Hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I want to know what you're thinking, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.